welcome to Room Escape Divas, your podcast on everything escape rooms. This week in our Designer Spotlight series, we are talking to Brian Corbitt of 60 Out Escapes. Woo! Yay!
My name is Errol.
I'm Amanda.
And we've been doing quite well. Actually, I think we skipped one podcast where we didn't even bring up Mike and Ruby.
I know we did. We did that. I was like, do I bring them up? And then you kept talking. So
I'm sorry.
I didn't interrupt you.
Those people who listen to this, all four of them, will already know. So it's all good.
All four of them. You're terrible at selling this podcast.
I know it's just easier that way. Anyway, we are excited because we do have Brian Corbitt, who I did meet because I did see your face once, Brian. Actually, first I'll say welcome, Brian.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. Yeah.
And I saw your face once because PG brought you on, but the other time that I probably saw you, I only really saw your hands, did I? Because I did play, I think you were the avatar for Miss Jezebel, is that correct?
It depends.
Yeah.
At one point I might have been the avatar. I'm the avatar again now because the employee that we hired to run it is actually running Orion's now. So that's Adam, who used to be running it.
Oh yeah, I think I had Adam as my detective in there.
Oh, then so maybe. Well, your voice sounds familiar, but maybe you both sound alike, so maybe not. Who knows? You know, for now, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Anyway, sorry. So before I get talking and tangenting again, maybe we can get you to introduce yourself, Brian.
Well, as you guys already introduced me, my name is Brian Corbitt. I'm the creator of Miss Jezebel and Miss Jezebel Online, as well as owning the brick and mortar location for 60 Out downtown. Besides that, I'm the owner, operator, designer. And I've also tried to have a big hand in the original SoCal escape room community.
Nice.
Very awesome. Errol will be happy to hear that.
Yeah, can you tell us more about the escape room SoCal community?
So back in 2015, when I originally joined on to the escape room community, all the escape room owners were very antisocial with each other. They didn't want to talk to each other. They didn't want to spread marketing or anything like that. So I created a community for them and tried to bring everyone together. And eventually we did, for better or worse. And we got everyone for the SoCal industry together. And it's really helped with trading, marketing secrets. They've come up with joint operations such as the escape room passport, all kinds of fun, creative, different projects that they could work on together.
So for those of you that don't know, SoCal is Southern California, I hope. Watch me be wrong on that.
Yeah, that's definitely...
You mentioned SoCal so many times over, for a year before I found out what it actually was. You're like, the SoCal group. Like, what is SoCal? And is it a cereal? Is it a... What?
Yes, we're the most important. We're Southern California. It's just
the most important part of California.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's no other part of California. No. San Francisco, that's just an urban legend.
Everyone's going to riot now. We're going to get a lot of puzzle communities in here.
And the other one is called NorCal, I would assume, maybe?
Yeah, it's New California. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
So you are the owner, operator, designer at 60 Out. So that's a franchise, correct?
Yeah. Yes. So 60 Out is a franchise. It was one of the biggest up and coming franchises of Los Angeles. I actually started with Countdown Live Escape Games, which is a different franchise based out of Vegas, and then unfortunately that franchise didn't really want to grow and take the necessary steps to innovate the industry. So I moved to 60 Out, which had a lot better atmosphere for creation, as well as having, huge movie names attached to it and large projects to go with.
So is there a lot of freedom? Now, for those of you or our listeners who aren't familiar with what it's like being in a franchised what are you allowed and not allowed to do? I mean, I know this is going to be specific to just 60 out, right? But
Yes. What I'm not allowed to do is I was not allowed to create Jezebel. But we already did it.
Good franchisee right here.
Exactly. I'm literally the black sheep of 60 out. Because they want to be family friendly and, they want to have this nice appearance and everything like that. And then here I come creating this game that's adults only. And yeah.
Yeah. So how did Miss Jezebel come about?
The idea happened back in 2016 for an April Fool's Day joke. We just wanted to do something fun, that was just basically, we pitched it as the scariest experience you'll ever do. And it was just a bunch of dick jokes and us feeding people crushed up Twinkies. And it was absolutely ridiculous. It had 3 actors in there. So it was only a one-day event. And we let it go on for free just for the fun of it. And yeah, that's the original conception of Miss Jezebel. Over the years, it sort of became, can I actually do this? Can this actually work? From both a business standpoint and from, an enjoyability for the players.
That's true. Like as Errol and I have both run events with multiple actors, and they are very much not sustainable business models in the slightest. So from a business perspective, what kind of changes did you have to make to help that concept to work?
The biggest one was cutting back on the actors. Can't have 3 actors every game, so we had to cut actually one role. There used to be Miss Jezebel's son that was a character in the game, and you would only see his hands and his feet. And you'd actually have to trade with him different, like some of the mushed up Twinkies I told you about. You'd trade him some of the food and he'd give you some of the things that you actually needed for the room. So we had to get rid of his character, unfortunately. But and then we had to take the Gloria character and combine it with the Jezebel character. So they're now one and the same.
Right. It was like, I was about to make a reference that was very Canadian and no one would have gotten it. I was going to say it was like a Pokeroo thing, but...
right. Although, I guess we don't really... we probably won't tell any spoilers for the game because the game is still going, but it's yet another character in there. So, yeah, just for anybody listening, hopefully there won't be any spoilers unless Brian accidentally says something, but, And
we can always edit that out.
Or we could tell you to go and play at the very least play the online version of Miss Jezebel, which is available now, and experience it for yourself before coming back to listen to this podcast. So,
although, did you say there were 3 games? I thought there were 2. Maybe not. I haven't been keeping track of all because there's Miss Jezebel, the cat one, right? And then
I didn't mention anything about number of games. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
I was like, am I making up memories? No,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. Right? I'm old, so don't trust me.
Well, right now we have 2 games for my location. I have the Orion's Ridiculous Revenge and the Miss Jezebel Online. We're currently making a 3rd online version or online telescape game just as a little quick extra. And that's going to be a tiki themed game called Tropic Trouble. But that's going to be more, the generic style gaming and stuff like that. So it's not going to be Miss Jezebel World or anything.
Yeah. So I hadn't before Miss Jezebel, I hadn't played an 18 plus room before, so I wasn't sure what to expect because I did not know. I just let my teammates sign me up for things, and I didn't really know what I was getting into. So I didn't know if 18 plus meant it's going to be super violent and graphic and torture porn, or if it was going to be like like a lot of raunchiness and dick jokes, as you say.
Or
so
if it's just going to be like wall-to-wall nudity. That was also another option, right?
I mean, that's, let me tell you what, that actually was one of the original. There was a lot more ideas that were originally planned for Jezebel that had to get mixed or had to get censored due to being in a franchise.
Right.
But yeah, we wanted to keep it a mystery mainly for the surprise of it. We wanted people to walk in there and not know what they're getting into and have a little uneasiness and worry that it might be scary, and then just have these outlandish things happening to them.
I think the 18 plus is enough of a label to and the marketing for it, like it looks like horror.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your franchisers, they aren't trying to take this game and bring it across the country?
I mean, yeah, they've seen the results of it, so they're a lot more supportive of what I do now. They were definitely more nervous of it back in the beginning days, and I had to sort of, put things in after they played it to avoid their censorship. So, yeah.
Oh, so they played down the watered down version.
Yeah.
Yes.
They played
Are they going to be watching
phase
this?
one version. No, it's all right. It was the phase one version. That's what they played.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so they all know this because,
I mean, they should know by now.
Okay, they should know by now. We don't really
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
I honestly don't really know if they do or don't. But I mean, they should.
So one of the things I loved about the experience, and I've only played the online experience, but was your use of, like, was the improv abilities of your actors. Do you purposely employ actors who are like actually improv actors, or are they just actors that have good improv skills? I really enjoyed their ability to just go with whatever we were saying and still manage to keep the game on track.
Well, I definitely to find the proper actors for this game is definitely a search. I've gone through my fair share of employees that just couldn't cut it, I've spent a whole month training up 2 new employees only to have to let them go at their final trial because it was just, they weren't cutting it. They weren't cutting, they weren't having the improv skills that they need. And honestly, some of my best actors have come from the weirdest places. Patrick, who is the main Jezebel, one that's on all the advertising, he's actually trained as a game designer.
Fun.
Yeah, and it's really funny because he actually worked at a different 60-out location before. And at the other locations, they don't really have as sort of a hands-on with the creativity. But they're more just game masters. Whereas at my place, I try and, give them more options to help, contribute to the content. And Patrick basically bribed me with a bottle of whiskey to get an interview so that he can come and, talk to me and try and convince me to hire him. And it totally worked because obviously, it's a bottle of whiskey. Why wouldn't I? And it turns out he's obviously been the best employee that I've hired so far. With that being said, I've hired a few other actors from the haunt industry. So I work for Knott's Scary Farm down in Buena Park, California. It's one of the biggest haunt attractions in America. And I hired a lot of the actors from that community to run things as well. Like Adam, your game master with the red hair. The reason why he has the red hair is because he's a clown. So he's running around scaring people normally as well.
Is it a nice change for him to be the scared person now then, to switch it up a bit?
Yes, it's nice for him to actually have some more acting gigs than what he was doing.
Right.
Because I think before that he was working at a Golden Corral or something as a line chef, and he wanted something more, that he could sink his teeth into from creativity and experiential. So.
Very cool. So the haunt community, like, do you think is there something about, I've never actually acted in a haunt before. I think I think maximum it's been like the college haunted house we had where we did an actor, but is there a certain skill set that you would need that would help out with escape experiences as well?
Well, as from a haunted, you need to be able to say a multitude of lines. And obviously, you're going to have some bits that you can repeat over and over again. But there's so much opportunity for unique interactions with guests from these jobs that it really helps build up those improv skills that you guys were mentioning earlier. As far as Patrick goes, he's not from the haunt industry, but he is being trained as a professional actor, and he is hoping to get into more professional actor in the future, or acting gigs in the future. But he is just a naturally talented individual. So I just got really lucky.
Yeah, he's a very enjoyable Jezebel. That was it was a lot of fun to interact with him.
So in regards to actors and also employing your game host, you mentioned improv skills being very important. Were there any other reasons why someone makes the cut and why someone doesn't?
It's not so much that. So I've had roughly, I want to say 6, maybe 7 Jezebels over the years, including myself. I've even been a Jezebel. And each one that has made the cut has done so because they've brought such a unique flair to the character. I don't want all of my Jezebels to be the same. I don't want them to all be Patricks. I want them to just be enjoyable for the character, or for the the players. I've had other Jezebels that one was like she was a white female. She was like a white trash Jezebel. She was a lot of fun. I've had another that was basically a small, very, very like a baroness feeling, and she would put boys, because guys would come into the game and play the game, and some of them would get really rowdy with it and just want to be the center of attention. And she would not hesitate to shut them down by, just looking at them being like, you need to shut the F up. And, and just totally controlling these guys. And she's only like 5'2", you know what I mean? So it's really fun to see like that happening. My Jezebel character, I don't feel comfortable with my face being there, so I prefer to have a silicone mask that was custom made by Immortal Mask of an old lady. So I'm like a 6'2" old lady Jezebel that's very sexually advantageous on the men. Yeah, it makes it really uncomfortable for them. It's
oh my god,
a lot of fun to see that happen.
So do you find now that it's mostly online, that what were a lot of the changes you had to make, or what are the different dynamics that you have found with it being online?
So when it comes to being online with an actor, it closed a lot of doors for us, but it also opened up a lot of doors. We had to change about 40% of the show. So the show that you do online is not going to be the same show that you do in person as just, because obviously there's going to be a detective character there to lead you through and sort of be your straight guy. So you're going to have to do those roles yourself and such. But it did open up so much as far as storytelling, because then we could really, add certain elements that we couldn't normally safely add before that. I have Jezebel now as an actor run, because, a few years ago, the reason I never implemented Jezebel back in 2016 when I originally came out with it was because I just didn't want an actor. I was so worried about the actor having to interact with guests, and guests are just so unpredictable and dangerous. But the more I do it now, it's just I can't even. I try to figure out how to properly do it to my other two roles.
Especially with the theme, and depending on people's comfort levels, some people might feel too comfortable with it. So I can understand your hesitation with wanting to protect your actors, because you never know when somebody will get too into the part, and like we had an actor get physically assaulted during our game because someone tried to get the gun away from the bad guy on their own, and it's like, crap. I think we tried to control it. Like, we had to really think about
drunk,
that.
So that
they were also drunk. So
that's our fault, because we served alcohol. But yeah,
and that's the thing. Coming from the haunt community, haunt actors get physically abused more than any actor on earth, I feel like.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So to really create that protection for your employees and for your actors, you can only do so much. And I guess, even Patrick got one of the very first groups that we had, one of the guests locked him in or forced his door shut in the back and wouldn't let him out of his room. And it was like, what are you doing, man? I mean, come on. You should understand the rules of the game by now. But yeah, it was just a very problematic group. And luckily that was the only real problematic group that we've had. Everyone else, even the drunk ones that we've had, we've usually been able to wrangle. And it's all about knowing how to talk to people, even when they're intoxicated. Hey, relax.
You must know that's okay. I have internet problems, so I'm actually on the phone trying to make sure my children are not streaming.
Yeah,
stuff.
I think my sound just went out for a sec. So
yeah, all sorts of things. Do you have any kind of, not restrictions, but any requirements for your avatar actors?
Actually have avatar actors. Adam moved Brian, and the other one that I was training did not. So I just sort of
you're
nixed out on the hiring of new actors for now. The demand, while it's we're still getting bookings, the demand just isn't there to really open up a lot more slots and stuff like that. So we aren't really advertising. We're just trying to work on a new Tropic Trouble game as well as a new project. I'm trying to find a way to properly automate an escape room experience so that players can come in person without ever interacting with the game master face to face.
That's the dream.
Isn't it? Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Unlike most escape rooms, we've been closed since March. So yeah, it's
that's the case for a lot of escape rooms in Toronto too. Yeah.
So we got to find ways to adapt or die, just like any other industry. A lot of the big name escape rooms down here have been closing, so it's really unfortunate to see one that was so great closing down. And I've already bit the bullet, and I'm like, I'm gonna stick it out, and we're gonna make, I built it. It was finally done. I was ready to set it and forget it, but now we just gotta get past this reopening and everything like that. But yeah, the automated idea has been something that I've actually been wanting to do even before the lockdown. I would love an idea of a escape room that requires minimal resets and minimal player or game master intervention for most things. Very similar to, I'm not sure if you guys heard of Board.
Yeah, for sure.
They have a very similar style model where it's it's very automated and everything like that. You can really just put the numbers through without all that interaction. Honestly, I would love a Japanese style, like a Japanese style arcade or vending machine. But that's in my brain. It's just like you walk in, there's like a little screen, somebody greets you and stuff like that, and have some Japanese style vending machines over here. It just feels very, modern and streamlined.
Oh yeah.
And then a claw machine.
Exactly. You just throw a claw machine.
There you go. That's like, all the rage. We have a couple of escape rooms here also that are trying to and have somewhat successfully automated and had very minimal interactions with the GM.
Yeah. The only problem, though, of course, is Los Angeles is the LA County Health. They're not really too. I don't think they're too interested in hearing new safe ideas or anything like that. We've 60 Out in general has been in a lawsuit with them for the last 6 months or so, trying to get ourselves reclassified because they still classify us as family fun centers. And that's just unfair because,
Because you have Jezebel. How much family fun is that?
Exactly, right?
I mean, could be.
Just for the sense that, in my opinion, escape rooms are much more, we are able to control the safety and interactions with players much safer than retail or the barber shop next door that's literally touching people,
Well, you're also you're not letting like 20 kids run amok in a ball pit, right? You're
nothing like that.
You're bringing through groups of like 6 to 8 at a time, and
that ball pit idea got put on hold. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Not that people need to know this. Now I'm like arguing with my children on the phone. Can you get off the internet? How long? It's like, oh, for pity, don't have kids. Oh,
Yeah.
Is Echo just watching K-dramas?
I don't know what they're doing up there. They're teenagers. Who knows? Oh,
It's
man.
probably like, come on, it's just half an hour longer. You can do it. You can do it, guys.
Exactly.
You can be offline.
Yes. So people who are watching the video are thinking, Errol's so rude. He's just looking at TikTok videos on his phone. It's like, no, I'm trying to get them off. Anyway, sorry.
You mentioned earlier, training actors as well. Like whenever you hire somebody, you train them. What's the training process like for that? For anybody who's interested in hiring actors?
So the training process for running being a Jezebel or being the detective is obviously, knowing your lines, knowing your points and stuff like that you want to try and hit. There's definitely certain things that you want to try and get done in a certain time limit to make sure the game's running smoothly, while still presenting the illusion of freedom and the illusion of being, them having more control than they actually do. But with that being said, that's only half of it. The other half is they have to really show me that they are able to have that quick wit to comment immediately on something that was said, or make comment or make jokes, left and right. And if they can't do that, sorry, he's just saying really noisy.
He will not be appeased.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I guess you want somebody that would fit the role well. I mean, if you had a Jezebel that just did dad jokes the whole time,
that could work, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
You never know.
That would be me.
Yeah, it really depends because, like I said, one of our Jezebels was more of a white trash style Jezebel. I'm a 6'2" old lady that tends to be more scary Jezebel. And then there's Patrick, who's more of a sultry lover Jezebel. So each one of us has our own little flares and unique things, but as long as there's that little spark that really makes people root for her, makes them like enjoy her presence as well as being afraid of her at the same time, that's what they really need.
Yeah, as long as the essence is there, the window dressing might just change up from time to time.
Yeah.
And
I think that's more interesting even for us anyways, because then it opens up new doors on what we could do and what could be said and all kinds of fun things.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to ask about your new room. Is it all going to be online only as well, or?
The new room is going to be another Telescape game. It's meant more for family friendly because the 60F franchise wanted me to do something a little bit more family friendly, something that would sell better because Miss Jezebel is very niche and very adult, and it's not quite what people think of when they think of escape rooms.
Will it also have an actor and an avatar, or is this just avatar?
No, that's just going to be a Telescape game. So it'll just be run just like the Orion's Ridiculous Revenge. So it'll be mostly point and click videos, things like that.
Okay. Straight Telescape. Okay.
Yep, straight Telescape. With a few interactions with the game master. We're still coming up with a few ideas, but for the most part, we're getting to there. There will be PG will be hosting the game. So.
Ooh, really?
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go and play.
Yeah, she really wanted to get involved on a project. A lot of us escape room owners over here are friends, and PG's part of our group. So she definitely has been looking to get into this. What happened to your nail? Ooh. Oh, hold on a sec. Sorry.
No worries.
I just realized. Oh. This claw was coming off. Okay. Okay, here.
I should go groom my animals. I have one.
There we go. Okay.
Have a grooming party.
Yeah,
Designer
exactly,
spotlight and pet grooming video.
Yeah, so this is a new podcast for pets. This is Ernie. He's a brown tabby. He's a great tomboy cat. No.
So what's your escape room origin story, Brian?
My escape room origin story. I used to live out in Vegas. I was working at the Circus doing set design for their haunted event.
Oh, that's
Right
fun.
down.
They had a haunted event at Circus. That's
Yeah,
cool. Wow.
it had gone on for a couple of like a decade, I want to say. And the owner actually is Jason Egan, who eventually opened up the Saw escape room in Vegas. So very talented group of people.
Not the owner of Circus, but I guess.
No. Jason Egan is his own entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So.
Did you grow up in Vegas? No, obviously, probably not.
No, I actually. In Vegas, yeah, nobody grows up in Vegas. No, I moved out to Vegas just because it was a lot cheaper than Southern California at the time. Buy a townhouse. I bought a townhouse out in Vegas for like 80 grand. You can't buy a studio apartment in California for 80 grand. You know
wow. Really?
Well,
wow.
Yeah. It's like, if you want to live better, don't live in Southern California.
Yeah. No. I'm just shocked at that price.
Yeah. Even in Toronto, we've got terrible
that was 2011.
prices.
Yeah. 2011. There was a great price, and just moved out there, got things done, and was doing some acting for the Fright Dome set design, as well as acting in for the military. Was doing some military training out there.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I was thinking, acting for the military. That's
that we would be basically doing tactical medicine care and stuff, training, soldiers and stuff like that, how to do care under fire, care under certain situations. So they need professional actors to come out there and die over and over again. And that was a lot of fun. But then I was driving down the street and I just saw this, can you escape in time sign just on the, billboard. I'm like, what the hell is that? So I had to check it out. This was 2015, before escape rooms really blew up. And I went online. I tried to look it up, but ended up finding a different escape room, because back then you could tell the difference between escape rooms.
Back then, even now, I think people.
Yeah, right. They still mix us up all the time. I still get reviews for other people's escape room, and it's like, we don't even have that thing. What are you talking about?
I bet it's probably even more complicated because 60 Out is a franchise, right? So.
Oh yeah. No, it was such a pain in the butt these last few years. We put in a central telephone system that had downtown, Koreatown, all the different locations. Like, people are like, well, I don't know which room is at which location. So it was such a hassle for us.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the origin story. So the way I learned to do things in the creative industry is I joined them. I just started working. I think that's the best way to do it, see the back end. So I went and joined a company called Countdown Live Escape out in Vegas. It was a very small escape room, very, Gen 1. It was off the strip, on like Industrial Road, down some back alley road that you would never, ever, ever drive by.
That sounds par for the course, really.
Yeah. It was in this little shopping center that had I think it was a prostitutes hub there or something like that, because in Vegas, that's literally what happens. It was just so ghetto, but people were loving it. It was so surprising. They were making, somewhere like 30 grand a month in net.
Oh, wow.
And it was ridiculous how much they were doing. But anyways, then, I ended up moving back to California for my girlfriend at the time had become a Disney Imagineer. And so we had to move back over there. And I had become friends with the owner of the escape room, Countdown Live Escape, and they decided to buy a location out here. That was another escape room that was doing all right. It wasn't doing great. It was pulling in like $3 grand a month or something like that. And they asked me to come down and set design for them on a new, some of the new rooms and stuff like that. And as I joined them as the manager, we got the contract for the Krampus escape room and built that. And then we got the Tiki Time game built. And it was, very first gen, before back then I wasn't really thinking how to properly innovate. And looking back, I would have done everything so differently. But, that's how I got into it. And then as soon as I built those 2 rooms for him, he being the Chinese businessman that he was just like, you know what, I want to own a restaurant instead. I think I'm going to sell the escape room. Just like, this is literally a month after I built these rooms for you, and you want to sell all my work. And I was like, can I just buy it? And so he sold it to me instead. And I've been the owner since 2016. So, I mean, it's done decently, I guess.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh.
How's his restaurant doing?
He didn't buy a restaurant.
Oh, okay.
He ended up going back to work for Google. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's funny because that other Countdown location that was making 30 grand, they went out of business. So,
yeah. Before or after COVID?
Way before.
Oh, okay.
It was before I even joined 60 Up. They were going out of business because they weren't staying up to date.
No, it's true.
Yeah. As more and more escape rooms opened out in Vegas, it's just when the competition comes around, people aren't going to come to you anymore.
And especially in LA, where they from what I've heard and from what Errol's told me, they get so much more grandiose and that kind of, like, as they innovate, it's harder to stay, if you don't stay up to date with that, then it's harder to keep up with the competition, I bet.
Yeah, to stay relevant in this day and age in the escape room industry, especially in a hub like Los Angeles, it's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly costly. And you really need to be innovative. You need to be a networker. You need to have all these skills that I never realized that you needed to have. And but I've been a few different locations around the U.S. and I played games in different locations. And I'm not going to say that we have the best escape rooms. We have some of the best, but I mean, there are rooms that are just absolutely gorgeous all over the U.S. So
I think you have a high consistency of good rooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So when I was there, and there were so many escape rooms suggested to me, and a lot of them were in the upper tier. So they might not be the absolute best, but you are going to get a lot of good escape rooms.
There's definitely a lot more. The quantity is definitely a lot higher because of that. We have a lot of leftover talented people from other industries that are very popular down here, like the film industry or the haunt industry. Like Crossroad Escape Games. They're, brilliant game with their hex room. And the owner, Madison and Luke Rhodes, they came from a background of haunt set design as well for, I think, Dark Harbor for the Queen Mary. So it just makes sense that they're going to make beautiful sets and things like that. And then also, we have these other larger ones that are coming into play, like Escape Hotel, and other ones that just have all this money behind it, that it's really going to push the quality up higher. While Escape Hotel isn't necessarily great at their game creation, they are great at making a very visually beautiful experience for their lobby. For their some of the rooms are gorgeous. Most of their rooms are very gorgeous, but you can definitely see the money is there.
Yeah, for sure. When it comes to innovation, like you mentioned, for instance, like if you were to go back to your first rooms that you designed and you'd say there's so much I would change, like what kind of things have you learned along the way that really helps escape room design?
Big that's a good question, right? Some of the big things is the games don't have to be hard to be fun. I mean, to try and
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Good grief.
To try and tote, like, oh my God, my game is so hard, so few people get through it. That's not bragging rights in my mind. That's like, you need to fix that. Because that means people aren't enjoying it to the fullest that they would enjoy it. We're creating this illusion that they are coming through and solving everything and being, so intelligent and being able to solve all these puzzles. But if you don't have the correct streamlined, hint to clue to puzzle to answer, you're just pissing people off at that point. That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
If people don't get it, or if you didn't have a proper way for them to get it, people are going to get really upset with you. And I wish I would have learned that a long time, or I wish I would have known that walking into this, because I wasted a lot of games with, where players are just like frustrated by things. And I'm like, I could have fixed that if I did this. I could have fixed that if I had a better wording on this. I could have fixed it if I, if I had just a light on top of it or something like that, to direct their attention to it. There's tons of ways that really help streamline a game.
I think I've shouted at many designers about.
You have. I can verify that.
Shouted at many designers. It's like, look, you're doing difficulty wrong, and you should stop it because you can't do it. You're not talented enough to know how to do difficulty. That is how pompous I am. So, I'm a horrible person.
Yeah, I mean, not to bring up the Saw again, but when we went and played it, I played it with 6 other owners, we played it with 3 other owners and their families, so it's like 13 of us all together, and we beat every single room in the Saw, and they told us afterwards that only like 22 groups or something have ever beaten all rooms, and I'm just like,
that's a shame. Yeah.
What's that telling you guys? And they don't care about that though, because they just want the money. They just want to shove people through.
Mm-hmm. Although it's nice now, because I think back in the day, everybody was proud about the 2% solve rate, and now it's not like that anymore. Hopefully,
it's really changed. I mean, a lot of people are changing and realizing that it's not a good thing to brag about. I mean, and those that still do brag about it, I mean, I pray that you guys see the lights. That's it's making it more enjoyable for the customer, not making them pissed off at you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Errol, did you have other questions? This is usually you hold back, so I
had a bunch, and then I forgot it because
oh my gosh,
I didn't write it down again. I know I should have just written
this is
them
the
down.
Second time.
No.
Do you know like what area that they would focus on? Maybe that could jog your memory.
Was it about escape rooms?
Yeah.
It was about escape rooms. I mean, I was also going to ask you about your photos in the background, but I didn't. I was like, well, what's that? Looks like an ad from all the way over here. I see a plane. Are you a photographer as well?
No, that's actually just an artist photographer. Basically created a bunch of Star Wars themed World War II photos.
Oh, right. That's why that looks familiar. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I had to buy the collection because obviously,
I'm kind of jumping back a bit while Errol tries to remember any of his questions, but just want a kind of a comparison between the online Jezebel and say the in-person one. And I haven't played the in-person one, but one thing I appreciated about the online, and you kind of touched on it, was as much as I love to act in escape rooms, role playing is a little bit terrifying for me, and it was kind of nice with all of these online formats that we have this avatar to work as kind of a shield. And not only that, it's an avatar that will go along with when I don't know what to say, and I'm like, I don't know, tell her that you like her, I don't know, and they'll work with what we have. So it was kind of nice. But with the in-person version, like you said, people have to actually get into play the role themselves, right? They're the ones seeing Miss Jezebel in person. So how do you go about dealing with shyer players, or is there usually at least somebody in the group that is going to be the extroverted one who talks the most? Like, so
when it comes to the group's dynamics, every group is different, of course, but it's the same with any sort of actor that is directly interacting with people, whether it be a Disney princess or a haunt monster or an actor inside an escape room. These actors need to be able to read the audience and need to be able to read players and determine who is who. Is this girl the scared one? She's looking very nervous. She won't make eye contact. Obviously, we're going to have some fun with her later.
Is this man the jerk? Yeah, his name is
man the jerk.
Yeah.
Do I need to put him in his place, or do we need to punish him? because we do have punishments as well in the in-person Jezebel, because the online Jezebel, it goes a lot slower because it's all from one camera point. Obviously, if you have a group of 6 inside Jezebel, everything's going to get figured out and explored a lot faster. That's why we have much more interactions, 40% more different kinds of interactions to really amp up that experience. And there's some that we'll do all kinds of things that to keep other players in check and stuff like that.
Now I want to know how I'd be punished.
Man, you come down for an escape room trip in 2022, and we'll see. Hopefully we're all still around by then.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I want to see Errol punished.
Yeah, Manpants always wants to see me punished.
I do. I want him to actually face consequences for his actions, because usually he gets rewarded for them in some dumb way. And it's like, I'm tired of it. I want him to see like negative consequences in which he's actually, punished for being a bumbling jerk who just makes up words and just talks the whole time and also dances around.
I love being role playing in a game. It's great.
Yeah. You do. Yeah.
It's actually surprising when I play other people's game. It's actually very uncomfortable for me to role play.
Yeah.
It's super surprising. So I mean,
if it's the opposite, like when I'm acting in a role, it's like that's fine, and then it's like, here, answer these like now you're put on the spot and you have to be a role and you have to decide, and I'm like, no.
See, Madpan gets mad at me because I like to take risks in my acting, or not acting. I'm a horrible actor, but in my role playing. And then it's like, wait, why did that risk not be negative? Because wasn't a risk, man.
He tackled a fellow player,
no, not an actor. I don't touch other actors. I won't touch other
you were being rowdy and
I was being rowdy with Mike. That's all.
It's like somebody should have put you in a cage.
I was told to create a distraction.
I mean, that's a good distraction. You go attacking your friend. You're like, hey,
yeah,
oh my God, right? I thought he had a bomb. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there.
Like, that was well within what they told me to do. If it was see, that was something that I was told to do. I didn't, see, so why would I have been punished for that? Because I was told.
I feel like in that room, you could have done anything. You could have been like, look over there quietly. It's like, no! Tackle!
Yeah,
I was more worried about the furniture around it.
Yeah. There was no furniture around. See, also other things. If you're told to role play to, like, I don't know, do something like social engineer somebody because I need to take on a role, then I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
That was a bad example.
And Madpants gets mad at me. It's just like, no, don't go over the top. Why can't I go over the top?
That's the whole point of us being here, is to go over the top. I mean, it's definitely something that's it's a double-edged sword for me as the one that really does the avatar work a lot now with Jezebel. When players go over the top, it can either be really great or really bad. I definitely prefer groups that are actually talking, though, because having to sit there and be like, those points where it's like I'm stuttering, waiting for them to come up with a line for me, and it's like that awkward silence because none of them are coming up with anything.
There was a moment in our Miss Jezebel where that happened, and I think I was actually the primary role player in that game. And me and one other person, but there was like the moment at the beginning where she asked us something like for a detail about our lives, and he was like, what do I say? And I'm like, and then like they're both, you could see like the Miss Jezebel staring at the detective and being like, what got your tongue or something, and I'm like, I don't know, you're a librarian. I can't even remember what I said. We just shouted something and he was like, what?
Oh, actually, I took our avatar's suggestion. I said, what's your name? And I said, it's Ramon. And he goes, oh man, that sounds like a masseuse. So what's my profession? A masseuse. It's like, it's like, and then he's like, oh crap.
That's very in theme. That's very in theme.
Yeah.
So I think that works.
And that's the whole that was like something that was so amazing that we just sort of stumbled on with the detective character. Was he is the straight character. He's that white Republican character that you get to make fun of and make him do stupid, silly things.
Yeah.
That's
we didn't make fun of our detective that much. Now that I know,
we made him do something. I won't spoil it. I mean, we made him do something silly and stupid at the end. He was appalled, and I think we made Miss Jezebel crack a little bit because she wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. It's always funny to hear Patrick crack, because I'll hear him. He's listening the entire time from the back, and I'll just hear him muffled laugh, and I'm just like sitting there trying to be straight on the camera, just be like, "What the hell did you tell me to do?" And yeah, it's just we definitely enjoy what we do. So
yeah. No, it's a lot of fun. And so Man Pants here also gets mad at me because I try to make actors crack as well.
Yeah,
and so
I feel bad for the actors at that point. Sort of like they're trying to do their job, but then I'm
just
like
trying to make them laugh.
To be fair, it is also funny to watch their faces just suddenly be like, like, just trying to hold it in. And...
Yeah, I'm very impressed when you can see them hold that face, and it's like, wow, you are good. Look at you go.
At any rate, Errol, have you remembered your questions yet?
Oh no, I got talking about other things.
It's all gone. The hope for those other questions is long.
There's an escape room somewhere in this too. Like, can you get him to remember?
No, I don't remember anything.
But you know what? It's gonna though. I'm actually really I'm really excited about how other escape rooms are stepping it up. I've seen a lot of innovation from across the U.S. at this point, and it's just amazing to watch the growth over the last 4 years and this last year with COVID and everything, to see how people are adapting and creating. Some of the best ones I've played so far was like, let's see, the Assassin Artist was
that one is a lot of fun. Yeah,
that replayability aspect. And then I love the Exorcist and the Beast. Those game masters were a lot of fun over there in the UK.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy how even like with the Pursuit of the Assassin Artist, like how mechanically they've adapted it they've created something for online. Because that's something in an escape room you couldn't do in person. And
now the challenge for them is going to be, how do they readapt it for in-person games? Otherwise, it's just a waste.
That would be really tough. That would be really tough.
I don't think it would be as tough as you think. I mean, because we run Jezebels in person, and people look at our Jezebel online game, and all the time they're like, "This game's only for online, right?" And it's like, sort of. We changed a lot, and we made it adaptable. Obviously, they might, to do their death mechanic, the respawn mechanic would be difficult, maybe. Maybe not, though. I mean, what if it was just like all the lights go out, a red light comes on, it says, "You died. Go back outside and start over." You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Technically, are these spoilers? I don't know. I can't remember if this was on their website or not.
No, none of that happened. I mean, yeah, and plenty of reviews have talked about how they have the
fair game
mechanic. Yeah,
that's cool. This is how much I've been reading reviews. Wow, I'm not very
I read a few reviews every now and then, but
it also sounds like you get a chance to play games, which is great, because I usually find most creators don't have a lot of time to play.
That's come up more than a few times. I've beta tested quite a few games now, and there's been some creators that were like, "Yeah, we played like 2 or 3 games, and we're like, yeah, we could do this." And it's like, okay. You guys do you. I mean, whatever, it's your money. I would love to see people actually doing the proper research before they get into it. One of the only companies that I've seen that actually did a crap ton of research that created an amazing product was the Lab Rat at Hatch Escape. They took months and months of going around interviewing other owners and players and trying to see exactly what people wanted. So they did a great job on that.
That's awesome. with in terms of innovations too. Like I agree with you. Like seeing how it's been evolving has been
Mm.
really interesting and fantastic, and it's really fun to be a part of a medium that's just started. What innovations would you hope to see in the future? Like, what is there anything? Is there a direction you're hoping escape rooms will go?
Um, well, there's always the dream of really breaking out of what the traditional escape room is. I've heard stories of Russian businesses that are super interactive with tons of actors inside, like ongoing stories that you could jump in at any time in these giant worlds that they've created or something. I'm not really too sure on those. I've only heard hearsay. But, having something just on such a massive level that has more interactivity than just like a theme park where you're going in and riding the rides. Like Disney is trying to update that. So is Knott's, where with Knott's Ghost Town Alive, and Disney trying to create the Star Wars universe with actors that you can interact with and things like that. That's what I really want to see is what we can create on a much larger level, taking what the escape rooms are and then adding it to the larger experiences. There was one time I saw somebody made a plan to repurpose Detroit's abandoned areas and turn it into a giant zombie themed amusement park.
Whoa!
It's like a giant survival game. And while yes, that would be right now it seems pretty impossible to finish, but that concept is still a great concept, and I would love to explore something more like that, where it's just you're climbing through random windows on houses and trying to find stuff to survive and living in a real life zombie apocalypse that's safe somehow. That's the tough part, making it safe.
Yeah.
I know that they're also doing some wild things over in Asia, and like the 3-hour world. And it's sad, because unless you can speak the language, that's one of the hard parts. I know that North America and Europe, we have a lot of talk between us because we at least have that one common language, but it's difficult because it's huge, right? The Asian escape room industry community. There's lots of people there. And
yeah. I heard Beijing back in 2016. Beijing had like 200 escape rooms alone, and it was just ridiculous to think about that. Considering LA, we only had a couple dozen.
And when you take a look at last year's Escape Room Enthusiast Survey, the number of Asian participants doubled, all of North America and Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, you shamed us for that too.
Who, me? Oh, yeah, me? Yeah, maybe. Yes, I shamed lots of people.
You shamed us a bit. Shamed the North Americans and the Europeans, being like, look at this! They participated! Where's our participants? And yeah.
I mean, I worry about those larger, the longer ones, like 3 hours plus, or even playing games like Palace Escape Games. It was a hour and 30 minutes long, a 90-minute game, I want to say. And even I have a 90-minute game, and I worry that it's still too long, because unless you can keep it, the interest factor going. There were definitely moments where I was up in the Palace games in San Francisco being like, okay, we're done. Wait, what the hell? We're in a completely new area. What the hell just happened? And keeping us interested, keeping the players interested, because we have such short attention spans. Other ideas that we were thinking about doing was like an Airbnb escape room.
That's our dream. Yeah.
Just go out and buy. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was going on a few of the escape room forums. They were selling a house that used to be a prison or something like that in some place. Anyways, just turning that into an Airbnb and having it a multi-day sort of experience that they could solve at their own pace or something like that seemed like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's something that we're always interested in too. Even designing and attending, because that's the dream.
Absolutely. And that, honestly, for me, if anyone wants to buy my place and so I can go and do that, that would be great. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to create one of those as well if I had more time.
That is awesome. Errol, anything else?
No, we should let poor Brian go.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We both very much enjoyed Miss Jezebel and can't wait to see the new stuff. I can't wait to play Orion. I was supposed to have played it a month ago, and school happened, and I
can't wait to have PG as a game host. Oh, that'll be lots of fun.
PG as a game host, that will be entertaining.
She will.
Yeah.
She's already done quite a bit of acting for me so far, so.
Yay! And if people would like to check out your escape company, where can they go?
60out.com, of course.
Excellent. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, Brian, and we will let you get back to your day. In the meantime, I will talk us out. Room Escape Divas. Yeah. Room Escape Divas is brought to you by Inverse Genius. You can go to inversegenius.com to find other fun podcasts just like this one. You can also email us at roomescapedivas@gmail.com. We love getting emails. And if you are on Facebook, you can click like on the Room Escape Divas Facebook page. We have community meetups every Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for about an hour. We just get together, talk about escape rooms, or talk about whatever else is going on in our lives. And if you are using Twitter, you can use the hashtag REDivas. Oh, and Errol's showing the Miss Jezebel page. Look at that. Very nice, Errol. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.